Hello and welcome to a new episode. Tricked you. I'm sure you thought this was the Ramez Galal show in Ramadan. But it's actually just El Dahi. In 2019, the movie Joker was released, where the main character had a condition that makes him laugh for no reason, that annoyed people so much that they would hit him. That's why he had a card for when he laughed inappropriately. He would take it out and say, "Hey, forgive my laughter, I have a condition." This condition is called pseudobulbar affect. Like the game Sudoku, ABO. Don't joke about an illness, my friend. This happens when there's a failure in things that connect the frontal lobe, which is responsible for emotions, to the brain stem, which is responsible for responses. Even though this scientifically explains why he was laughing for no reason, it doesn't explain why people got mad to the point of hitting him. Let him be, guys. Be chill, we're on a road trip. According to scientists, humans learn to laugh at 3 months old before they could even talk. However, their laughing chances are 30% higher when they're around other humans. That's because laughing isn't spontaneous like coughing. It's actually a social function. It has to occur in a group in order to communicate with others. That's why people in the movie were attacking the guy. Because if he's laughing for no reason, then he's laughing at them. And laughing with no invitation is bad reputation. In a 2016 study, human test subjects listened to laughing sounds between two people in a conversation, and they were asked to find out the type of friendship these two had, and whether their laughter was honest or fake. So, the test subjects, who were being experimented on, were indeed able to determine all that just by listening to the laughter. Look out for your laugh. It says a lot about you. Scientists considered humorous activities like jokes, pranks, entertainment, and shows like El Dahi to be important activities for communication. According to evolutionary psychology, for example, when two groups meet in a forest, both holding guns, afraid to step closer, if one of the groups showed a smile, then it's a sign of safety to say, "It's okay. You can go." Excuse me, ABO. What you're saying is true and all, if we're talking about smiling, but what does it have to do with pranks? And how do they help in communication? As far as I know, after Ramez Galal pranks someone, they always beat him up for it. That's communication, my friend. Have you never heard of tough love? That's love. The anthropologist Edith Turner said that in societies like Daribi of New Guinea, adults tell children to make small boxes and bury them. Then they tell children that a treasure will appear in these boxes. But only if kids are patient enough and let the boxes sit underground for a bit. But because they're just kids, my friend, and also a little bit like you, they have some naivety. Don't know the plural of naive, but if you know, write it down in the comments. Anyway, you know what I mean. So, the children don't wait, and they start to open the boxes hoping to find treasures. However, they find feces in the boxes instead. Here, adults are pranking young kids. Meanwhile, the Ndembu of Zambia have adults wearing scary masks and scaring children in the forest. Why are adults being childish, ABO? What are these silly pranks? The pranks that I'm talking about, my friend, are considered a coming-of-age ritual by tribes. It helps kids grow up, learn, face their fears, and face the fact that the world could be deceiving sometimes. Or stupid. And when children go through these pranks, they learn to control their needs and impatience, and develop an important ideology for survival. This is called counterfactual thinking by scientists. A counter way of thinking that makes them ask, what can I do with my intelligence to not be a victim to another prank? If you thought, why are we talking about pranks, ABO? Where's science, maths, and calculus? We're learning from pranks nowadays. Patience, you naive. Allow me, my very smart Einstein friend, to show you one of the oldest educational institutions in the world. No way, El Asher University? No. My friend, it's MIT University. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The university where people like Buzz Aldrin, who reached the moon, studied at, and the famous physicist Richard Feynman, who won the Nobel Prize. Let me tell you that MIT accepts almost 1427 students yearly, out of how many? Out of more than 21,000 students applying. That of course put a lot of pressure on the students, since it's a difficult university expecting students to not only succeed, but to be even more successful than others. It causes 1 out of 4 students in this old university to suffer from things like depression that sometimes leads to suicide. In MIT, students are keeping a tradition that has been there since the 20s, which is competing to prank the university administration every year. These pranks are usually done on prominent buildings like the Great Dome, which they put insane things on top of over the years. As you can see, they put a cow, some cars, Halloween decorations, or the chemistry building where they put a statue for Walter White, or a room against gravity stuck upside down to the ceiling. You might think that the university administration is mad at these supposedly good students for the pranks they do at college. However, it would surprise you that the university has a museum that keeps all the prank items related to each year. Someone might ask, what do students learn from all this? In his book, Jokes and Their Relation to the Unconscious, our friend Freud says that jokes and pranks are sometimes the way society expresses aggressive thoughts and tendencies that are unconsciously hidden, safely and without hurting anyone. Just like students' pressures in MIT, which instead of turning into depression, or violence towards themselves, or violence towards university professors, all these pressures turn into symbolic pranks where students can express their annoyance and pressures in a creative way that doesn't hurt anyone. According to Freud, laughter creates cohesion of society. Because people in societies express aggression for each other through a joke without these suppressed emotions turning into real violence. He gives an example of jokes that poor people say about rich ones, or weak people about strong ones. Meaning that if you make fun of your boss, it's better than beating him up, and that is what laughter in society is for. So, careful, my friend. If you're a joke, then you're very successful. Or you're just a joke. The oldest theory for the functions of laughter is a theory called superiority theory for the well-known philosopher Plato, where the joke maker is enjoying the inferiority of the one he's making fun of, if this person is disabled, ignorant, or ill. Plato considered that jokes related to this theory are evil and unacceptable, unless it's a joke about society's enemies. That's when a joke turns into a strong and legitimate weapon. Here's an example. Thank you, A.B.O. Mead. I'm not giving it to you for fun, my friend. I'm giving you an example to prove my theory. What you're seeing here is the Roman Empire. This is an empire that controlled the world, and it started from this yellow point, Rome. What I'm trying to say, my friend, with reference to the book, Laughter in Ancient Rome, Mary Beard says that comedy in Rome was violent and superior sarcasm, just like Plato's theory of jokes against disabled, deformed, and ill people. However, this comedy, and notice what smart empires do, had a political function against Rome's enemies. The average Roman, who never left Rome, and never saw his own empire's army while they're conquering far countries overseas, will see animals from these places in the arena like lions and Nile crocodiles. These animals are brutally murdered on the hands of Roman gladiators. So, the average Roman citizen feels the superiority of his empire. We defeated the other county's beasts. And just like the writer Marina Beloerskaya says, a symbolic share in states' glory occurs. The spectators are symbolically sharing Rome's conquests by watching. According to Marina, the legitimacy of every Roman emperor was connected to his ability to provide more brutal shows than the former emperor, and satisfy the spectators' desires to visit the colonies from where they are, and enjoy the superiority in making fun of Romans' enemies. That's why troops in the Roman army will be formed with the sole mission of capturing animals from colonies to be taken and displayed in shows. The superiority theory I'm telling you about emerged in a modern form in 1940. At a time when Nazis took over Europe with the Blitzkrieg technique. That was the more important and exciting war, my friend. Unlike World War I, which was a trench warfare. Soldiers just sat in their trenches, and many years go by, but they're still there. Boring war. The Nazis used the Blitzkrieg technique, which breaks the lines of defense. So, instead of thinking and being cautious, they just break through enemy lines. Germans defeated countries through a combined attack of air assault and infantry that is quick like lightning. They terrified armies, and they surrendered the moment they know Germans were coming, just like the Mongols and their psychological war. At the time, the comedian Charlie Chaplin, during Hitler's strongest time, made a movie called The Great Dictator. Is that the Khaled Sahan? No, my friend. I'm talking about World War II and chaos. What does it have to do with Khaled Sahan? In that movie, Charlie Chaplin will portray Hitler as a not-so-scary guy. Instead, he'll be shown as a silly clown with a mustache like Hitler's. The truth is, and hear this one out, when Hitler appeared in the public eye, Charlie Chaplin was already more famous. So, When people saw Hitler, they thought he was copying Chaplin. In that movie, and for the first time ever, Chaplin, after being a silent film actor, will speak, and people will hear him saying that evil and hate will be defeated. And here I find something poetic about it, my friend, that trivial things like pranks, comedy and laughter, which people think is trivial, can strengthen societies from the inside, and destroy enemies on the outside. Now, I personally love pranks, comedy, and comedians. Let's get married. What? I wasn't ready. ABO Mead. There's a study titled, Digital Prank Phenomenon from the Psychology Perspective. This study says that comedy does something very dangerous, and that it creates a phenomenon that changes reality, and instead, causes what the philosopher Jean Baudrillard calls hyperreality. It generates hyperreality. Suddenly, animals in an arena turn into a symbol of distant colonized countries. And a student prank turns into a symbolic activity that protects them mentally. Comedy always creates an alternate reality. However, the real question is that reality always better? The terrifying clown craze. In 2016, sightings of a scary clown holding black balloons were reported. Spooky. He was watching people in the American state of Wisconsin. The truth is that this was just a prank. The purpose of this playful little prank is to present a creative marketing plan for a short film titled, Gags. However, suddenly this playful prank turns into a mass hysteria. Thousands of reports came in about clowns that lured children, or kidnapped them, or threatened people in the subway with knives. What started as a local prank, spread across all American states. Not just that, it crossed the ocean to England and Australia, and caused violence in Sweden. OMG. And crimes led to the murder of a teenager just because he wore a clown mask. People thought he was a threat. This madness will be known as the terrifying clown craze. Madness that drives European embassies to warn citizens from dealing with clowns. To the point that, all this embassy stuff aside, a big company like McDonald's officially announced to limit the appearance of Ronald McDonald the mascot. Oh no. That's how big the deal was. This iconic mascot in children's imagination. Haven't you noticed that he disappeared suddenly? This guy was always at restaurants and everywhere. We used to have toys for him, play with him on birthday parties. Suddenly he was gone, and that's why. All that happened because people were too scared of clowns. Here we have a simple prank that created a different reality, and turned clowns from people who make children happy to a real threat. People run as soon as they see one. And if they face him, they'll kill him. The writer Lara Williams says ABO Mead, this is gossiping. What if what Lara told you is a secret? None of your business. Anyway, this lady says that marketing plans like gags and platforms like YouTube turned pranks from a singular action, done between two people like we said, to what's known as a cultural obsession. A show requested by an audience and encouraged by platforms themselves. So, we now get Helem Benhom, Fosh Fel Moaska Hamdi and Wafa, Ahmed and Zainab, and all the, I pranked my brother's wife, I pranked my wife and told her I was cheating, and pranks even on viewers. And if the clown prank spread from one place to another gradually, then one online prank can reach the world at the same time. For example, in 2015 the vlogger Sam Pepper posted a prank he did on his friend to YouTube. And in that prank he and his friend were kidnapped by people he knew who didn't just kidnap them, but also shot him with a fake bullet in front of his friend. At the time, people found the prank savage, and teenagers could copy it. So, people got together and asked YouTube to delete the video. Especially that psychologists confirm that pranks, which are all fun and games, can lead to mental problems like trauma and hypervigilance, and behaviors that are similar to anxiety disorders. However, YouTube said that pranks that are uploaded on our platforms don't violate the community guidelines that we have. Let us get the bag, okay? Wait, I'm not making fun of YouTube, I promise. Anyway, YouTube refused to remove the video up until 2017. When the vlogger Mona Lisa Perez decided to shoot her boyfriend through a thick book to see if the bullet will pierce the book or not. Sadly, the bullet killed him. Then 10 months later, YouTube finally decides to enforce a new policy to limit dangerous pranks. Meaning, if I did some sort of game or event as prank, and people got too frightened, so they fainted, or got hurt, or had a heart attack, or anything similar just for a prank that makes people laugh and I get views. YouTube felt that it is dangerous, and people could actually kill each other just because they want to perform a real prank. But, what happened, ABO Mead? Let me explain. In an article titled, What Our Love of Sadistic Pranks Tells Us About Ourselves, the criminologist Tony Blockley says, and not the one mom forces you to eat, that modern societies are now obsessed with sensationalism. I'm from the modern society, ABO Mead, and I'm not obsessed with this thing. I know what you're obsessed with, my friend, but I won't say. Sensationalism means excitement. Back then, people requested from the Roman emperor to build an arena, and give them brutal shows to feel superior over Rome's enemies. Nowadays, by using a camera, you can create a Roman arena, or make a movie like Chaplin's, but without actual enemies to make fun of. That's because we're, to an extent, more civilized than Roman arenas and world wars. Supposedly, however, we're more boring. There's no action, no wars, no conquests. For example, one study in 2020 found a relation between boredom and sadistic behavior. This study discovered, and hear this out, that soldiers in the army with no combat are drawn to aim their violence towards each other. And according to that study, other than war, the social context where sadism appears the most are stuff like sarcasm and trolling on the internet. According to Freud, the more civilized society gets, the greater this hidden buried aggression gets, and the result of this beautiful civilization is that the need to release aggression through sarcasm increases. But, my friend, the real problem is that this huge aggression that hides deep within ourselves won't be released by a simple joke. It's over. It doesn't work anymore. Not the same. The joke has to be more complicated and more sadistic. And just like how emperors competed on how to make a more savage arena, people now in modern days compete on how to make a more savage prank, and get more followers and views. And as Tony Blockley had put it, sarcasm turned from a weapon we're forced to use due to events like war to a currency that's used by someone to feel superiority. But, this time it isn't against terrifying enemies like Hitler, it's against a poor victim to satisfy an online audience. Which is superiority theory in a nutshell. The one Plato considered to be the most evil theory to explain laughter. And he thought the best use of it was to make it a scary weapon against enemies. In modern days, it became a tool inside society itself. A tool used by individuals of society against each other. As if Romans jumped down into the arena, and turned from spectators to victims and spectators at the same time. Now we ask ourselves, wait, we ask ourselves? Are we crazy, my friend? Please don't make fun of us. Do we, as civilized humans, have this kind of evil intent? To enjoy sadistic pranks that aren't even funny? In 2012, the psychologist Erin Buckles made an experiment to try and answer a question. Do average humans have the ability to commit sadistic actions? And importantly, do they have the ability to enjoy it? No way. ABO Mead. Do evil things, and enjoy them? I know, right? In the experiment, she brought 78 students and tricked them. She told them that in this experiment she's trying to test their ability to endure strange tasks. I'll give you task, and see how long you can do it for. So, she give them options for things to do, like cleaning toilets or killing bugs. She was surprised to find that 53% chose to kill bugs. What's the problem? ABO Mead. We kill roaches and ants all the time. Sure, I understand. However, the question is, do you enjoy it? The killing process that she made them do was done in a way that made test subjects, the people who are being experimented on, feel every single bug there. Artificial bugs were used that make a disturbing sound once they were killed, as if something broke. Erin noticed that the more the sounds that are coming from bugs increased, and the more they heard this breaking noise, the more they enjoyed it. As if they don't want the task to end. The writer Lara Williams says, ABO Mead, didn't you expose her secret before? You're doing it again? What secret, my friend? Please let me focus. Stay out of it. Lara Williams is my friend. She says that this experiment explains why a simple prank like the Wisconsin clown was able to turn into an international disaster on the hands of sadistic people. They were waiting for the opportunity to wear a mask and terrify people. Like the experiment students that seem innocent, but there's aggression inside them that found a way to show itself, with the appearance of digital pranking, and pranks changing from personal behavior to TV shows. An alternative reality occurred, a new space through which suppressed sadism inside people can explode in uncontrollable ways, like the clown craze we talked about, or like the murderous pranks that forced YouTube to sit down and set new guidelines to police this type of content. Someone might say, don't make such a big deal. What's the problem? In Europe, my friend, and up to the year 1800, one of the legal ways of punishment was known as pillory. This was punishment for offenses like cursing and drinking, where instead of sending that person to jail, they put him on this pole and people watch him and throw rocks or spoiled food at him, in a study titled Ritualized Shaming in Reality Television. This study dealt with reality shows and described the process of bringing people on and putting them through humiliation on live TV as a modern form of pillory. Researchers say that the same way old governments turned public humiliation into a legal punishment with regulated rules and practices, so now reality and prank shows are doing similar practices as well, or systematic shaming to their guests. If I'm not happy with Hamo Bika's songs and saw him getting humiliated by Ramez Galal, I'll feel like that's great. I'm glad this is happening to you, Hamo Bika. However, according to the study, the difference between pillories and prank shows is you, my friend. Me, what have I done? I mean, like the audience. The audience thought that a pillory is a punishment that criminals deserve, and they participated by throwing rocks at him. But, now that feeling of accusation turned into enjoyment. Shows were able to do a cultural change to feelings like humiliation, from terrifying legal punishments to entertainment, where the humiliated person is more famous. He's happy because he's getting more fame. And the person watching him is also happy because they feel superiority. Nowadays, there are people who look for critics to make fun of them. Actors want a certain critics from the internet critics to make fun of them, to get more famous. That way the critic got views, the audience is thrilled, and the actor, who wasn't very liked in society, got more famous. So now he has enough value to go on ads and TV series, and could be rewarded for it. When the audience feels such superiority over ignorant people who fell for the prank that they know is a prank, it assures the viewer that he's smarter and better, and those who are being pranked or criticized are fools. Especially if the victims of said prank, my friend, are more famous and successful than us with a lot of money, wealth, and fame. But people like us, average simple citizens, get to see them, only for a moment, as foolish people who get scared, cry, curse, and run after the pranksters. The scientist Tony Blockley, who we've made fun of before to feel the superiority, says that in a society that encourages and rewards sadism through content that is built around superiority comedy, sadistic people will start to rise, but not in a controlled experiment. Not like Aaron's experiment, or a TV prank, but in contexts that are hard to control. These contexts could make some sadistic people bolder in doing sadistic things, bad, evil things. Someone might say, "Abo Mead, you scared me." What is to be done? How do we control aspects of laughter? Or how do we know what reality are we creating? The philosopher Plato tells us that the best way to differentiate between laughter that will create a better reality and laughter that will create a scarier reality is to differentiate between laugh with and laugh at. Plato says keep an eye on the feelings that occur with laughter. For example, the educational pranks that adults in tribes did on their children, or the MIT pranks, are the biggest examples of laugh with. Both sides of the prank understand that the joke was made so that both parties could leave as better people than before with better thoughts and feelings. Meanwhile, the laugh at always has a better winning side, and a lower loser side. That means Hitler didn't enjoy Chaplin's joke. In fact, Germany banned his movies, as the joke aimed at destroying Hitler's image. Here, we're laughing at, not with. Plato says if you're a part of a joke, or even just a watcher, pay attention to how you feel. Are you laughing with them or at them? When I tell you that you're impatient, am I laughing at you? No. My friend, I'm laughing with you. When Plato described bad sarcasm, he said, it's laughter tainted with pain and envy that hurts the soul of the person we're laughing at. The pillory punishment, my friend, where they spin around and have their heads held while people throw things at them, has been cancelled in Europe, not because of governments or criminals, but because of the audience who started to ruin the punishment. For example, when the writer Daniel Defoe was put on the pillory, the audience and his readers, instead of throwing stones at him, they threw flowers and gave out banned copies of his books to people. The writer Laura Williams says that the moment sadistic or violent content appears, we're all complicit, either by encouraging it as audience or by ignoring it. And if we ignore it, a bad joke will stop being a joke. In the end, laughter is a social emotion, an activity that gains its meaning from the context we put it in. Either laughter creates a funny joke we all enjoy, and leave as better people with less adrenaline, more endorphins, and a brain dancing from happiness, or it's created by a disturbing joke that leaves us feeling temporarily superior, but we're actually like the Joker who was laughing at the end at a burning city, and a chaotic reality. Though, the scene wasn't funny. Really, I was laughing so hard, abo mead. Oh no. Anyway, laughing is contagious, and I hope that you get infected with mine, and also get infected with my love for the sources. Go look them, and watch the old episodes, and the new ones, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, my friend. And that's when I'll laugh at you, not with you. Please, abo mead. Laugh with me, not at me. Okay. Fine. You got it. I'll do that. But after that, my friend, go to Lara and block your new friends. That's it. Surrender you mind.